Aí pega. Facciamo aquí, así.
agua que te pa.
for no reason.
tutto il buon. Sì.
AI, take off out. Are you sure? Okay. Okay. That's enough for that. I think I've watched all the paid. I think watching.
You have to pay now, so she said you have to stay in line.
So the sense of, that's all right. Could you put it? Probably when she uses the foot, it goes into every so the centre of it, and the over probably under that, so that. Yeah. All right.
Van beneden naar boven, zal halen. Van boven naar beneden. En dat is wel een had.
Er is een enkele mogelijkheid zijn bezig. Hoeveel enkele is ja, maar je kunt alles leiden.
As in, so just, yeah, the funded large interest in the sets for themselves. The funded large
Quello l'ex della tua.
Spanische Treffer, dann haben sie alle
All right, guys, we're heading to the Tripod. Is everyone good with the Tripod?
Ad esempio là possiamo...
Poi un
fava. Andrea è mia amica, quindi capito dove.
Amo je tranquilo.
Yerinden hoşlanmayan var.
Olsa ben tam orada gibi söyle.
Tu hai bianca.
Pero papalit ako sa sasakyan.
Putang ina.
Hindi makaahon yung 0.5.
Catatumbas.
Dito ay nagkakantunan mo.